This is your Pac-Man GP. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you another very exciting invention today. But before that, I really need to inquire, how do you do? I hope you all are fine. So wishing all the viewers very well, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. So I have a wonderful invention which is related to the field of automobiles, which I'm going to present today. So without wasting any further time, I am going to start off with my presentation. Let me just share my screen. So the title of today's invention is a spring assembly for a vehicle suspension. So what is a suspension? I'm sure generally people would be knowing what is a suspension system of a vehicle. So a suspension system, colloquially, it is called as a shock absorber. You know, it is it is a system which absorbs the shocks which a vehicle experiences while it is traversing on the surface of the road. Okay, and it absorbs those shocks, and therefore those shocks are sort of prevented from reaching the passengers who are traveling or the goods which are being carried in the vehicle. So that is basically a suspension system. But before moving, I must urge all the viewers to please subscribe to my channel at the rate of Pacman GP. Please like my videos. Please uh, share my videos to as many friends as possible and help in making this channel a viral channel. Having said that, I will not waste any further time. I'm going to move on to the credentials of this particular invention. So this invention has been granted an Indian patent, and the Indian patent number is 537925. And the patent has been granted in the name of an iconic automobile manufacturer from India, Tata Motors Limited. So heartiest congratulations to Tata Motors for acquiring this patent in their name. All these details are freely available on the Indian Patent Office database at their website. So this is public information. So therefore, nothing confidential about it, and therefore it can be shared on this platform. Having said that, I will move on to the invention. So as I mentioned, the title of this invention is a spring assembly for a vehicle suspension. So before moving on to the actual invention, I would definitely like to dwell into what is the problem which the inventor has identified from the prior art. So this is a photo of a leaf spring, okay, with a damper, which I have extracted from the internet. It is freely available, and we see that there is a wheel, and to this wheel we have the central axle. To the central axle, a structure which is called as a leaf spring that has been attached. Now, what is a leaf spring basically? This leaf spring is basically a suspension system which is made up of sheets of metal which are stacked one above the other. Okay. Therefore, whenever the wheel, when it is sort of rolling on the road surface, when it experiences some kind of a jerk, the jerk is arrested or it is absorbed by this particular structure which is called as a leaf spring. It works like a spring. And why does it work like a spring? Because in togetherness, this particular structure has what we call as a parabolic structure. Now, what is a parabola? Parabola is, I can give a relatable example. When a ball is thrown from point A to point B, the trajectory that the ball takes to go from point A to point B is not circular, but it is in a particular manner. So that trajectory is basically called as a parabola. Okay, that curve that is generated by the trajectory is called as a parabola. Okay, so all these sheets are stacked one above the other in a parabolic manner, and these sheets are attached at these two extreme ends. I'll urge you to follow my pointer. So they are attached at these two extreme ends to the chassis of the vehicle. Okay. Now it so happens that as the load in the vehicle increases, especially in heavy duty vehicles like trucks and trailers and oil tankers, so on and so forth, the ability of arresting the shocks that is experienced at the wheel by as the vehicle is moving. The that the load becomes very high in that situation. Okay, and the jerks are also experienced in a very sort of nasty manner. So in order to arrest or to provide some kind of an assistance to the leaf spring, a damper is provided. Now this damper is a telescopic device, okay, wherein one pipe is insertable, or it can be inserted inside another pipe. So it looks like a telescope, okay, and it is attached close to the leaf spring, and there is a coil spring inside the body of this particular damper. So therefore, whenever the wheel experiences any kind of a jerk, not just the leaf spring, but the spring that is inside this damper, that spring also arrests the jerk, and therefore it helps in sort of assisting the leaf spring. So it helps in sharing the load of the jerk between the leaf spring and the damper. So this is the basic mechanism which is already pre-existing. It is a part of the prior art. But when a damper has to be commissioned in this particular setup, then it definitely it adds to the cost of the setup. Okay, so that is the biggest problem which the inventor has supposed to be identified from the prior art, and therefore the inventor has conceptualized this invention. So what is the invention? We move on to the next slide. So here we have a drawing of the invention as per a preferred embodiment, we can say. What is the invention here? So here on the top, we have a stack of leaves, a first stack of leaves denoted by the reference numeral 1. So this is the first stack of leaves. And then we have a second stack of leaves, which is denoted by reference numeral 2. Now, both these stacks, they are individually designed in a particular manner. So what is the design? I'll come to that. Okay. So first, dealing with the first stack, we see that the central portion of all the leaves, all the metal strips that are bent, okay, that form the first stack. So the central portion of all the leaves uh, has the same kind of thickness, but as the leaf sort of extends in the outwardly direction, the cross section becomes thinner and thinner. So it is a structure with a varying cross section, we can say, and that is characteristic of all the leaves. If you see all the leaves in this stack, they are thick in the middle portion, and as the leaves extend out, they become thinner and thinner. So this is the basic design of all the leaves from the first stack of leaves. Okay. So far as the second stack of leaves is concerned, we see that all the leaves have a uniform cross section. If you can see here, all the leaves, all these metal strips have a uniform cross section. They are of the same thickness, right from the first leaf to the last one. So this is the basic difference. Now, what is the importance of having such kind of a design? That I will explain a little later. But how this is arranged, how these two stacks are arranged with each other, there is a central bore that is drilled through both the stacks, and this fastener 12 is sort of inserted through the central bore or the aperture 10, which is denoted by the number 10. And this is how both the leaves are fastened with each other. This is another view. As we can see, on the top we have the first stack of leaves, and on the bottom we have the second stack of leaves. So in this particular cross section, we see that the central portion of the first stack of leaves is having the same kind of thickness. But as the leaves, they start extending outwardly in both the directions, the cross section becomes variable. It starts thinning and thinning. Whereas in the second stack, we see that the cross section is pretty much uniform so far as all the leaves are concerned. They are of the same thickness, right from the top to the bottom. Okay. This is a diagram of the spring, the suspension system, or what we call as a tandem axle suspension system, and it has a wagon carriage over here. Okay, this is basically the chassis, And to the chassis, we have a bracket which is denoted by number 30, okay, on both the sides. And in between, we have an equalizer. And equalizer has two connectors over here and here. And the stacks are sort of connected to the equalizer on one side and to the bracket on the other side. Okay, so this is the first end and this is the second end. So the connector over here on the equalizer is the second end, and the connector over here on the bracket 30 is the first end, which is denoted by 32. Okay, so this is how the first and the second stack of leaves are connected to the chassis. Okay, now here we see that there is a small distance, there is a small gap that is defined between the first stack of the leaves and the second stack of the leaves. So what happens is that in its working, when there is a load that is experienced by the wheel, or there is some kind of a jerk that is experienced, it so happens that the second stack of leaves, it kind of uh, clashes with the first stack from the bottom, and it is possible only because of this gap, and because of the friction, the load bearing capacity of this particular suspension system is normal. Therefore, the jerk that is experienced on the top to the passengers or to the goods that are placed in the vehicle, that load which is experienced, it becomes very much normalized, or the intensity of that load, it is not that much as it would have been otherwise. So this is today's invention. I am not really sure what is the physics behind this invention, because the patent specification doesn't really get into the nitty-gritties of how the load is shared by both the stacks. It only talks about the construction, and it talks about how this construction is helping in avoiding the necessity of any damper. So definitely, since there are two stacks over here, the necessity of a damper is completely avoided or obviated, we can say, and therefore it saves the cost to the automobile manufacturer. So that is how this particular setup, this particular arrangement of having one stack of leaves above the other stack of leaves, this is how it is solving the problem of not having the necessity to use uh, the damper in this particular setup, and therefore the cost is obviated. So that is what has been explained in this particular patent, and this is today's invention. I hope you liked it, and for more such exciting content, technical content, please keep watching my channel, Patman GP. Please subscribe to my channel, and please share this with your friends. Please write your questions, queries. If you have any, please write them in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. This is your Patman GP.